And welcome to another edition of Thoughts, the Roundtable with me, Matt Rebar.
And me, Paul Laux.
And Paul, how are you? What's new? What's shaking?
Good. I feel animated today. I feel very good. I've been probably the busiest I've been all year, but I feel very good tonight, and I don't know why. Probably because I'm doing this. I'm very excited.
Oh, well, that makes me feel special.
Mm-hmm.
Oh. No, I love doing this because I feel like this is kind of our version of a diary, and so...
It's like a verbal diary.
Yeah, 20 years from now, I'm going to listen back and be like, oh, those were the times when me and Paul did the podcast.
Truthfully, I don't even think about... Dude, now that depressed me, honest to God. Because think about it. We're going to be like 60 years old. One of us probably won't be here because of a heart attack.
Oh my God. That really got dark. I was trying to be sentimental.
But just think
about
just think about it. We're gonna be 60 years old, and you're gonna think, and we're gonna sound so young and vibrant and vivacious, and it's just gonna be, at that time we're gonna,
we're still in that
voice.
point where we're not super jaded. At least I don't think I'm jaded at all. Maybe like a little bit, but I don't know how you feel, like how jaded you feel. But man, 20, 30 years from now, we're just going to be like, screw our young selves for trying to get the world. Yeah, 100%. We're going to be like, screw you, think you can have your cake and eat it too.
What did we think we were doing? You thought somebody was going to listen to this crap?
Come on.
I'm not going to lie to you. 30 hit me hard a little bit.
Yeah,
I think
it's a big number. I mean,
also 30 combined with having a kid. Mm-hmm. Having a kid will really make you think about life, especially when you write your will. Man, that's effed up. It is weird, man. It is.
I need a will. I need to write a will. Otherwise, I got to do that. So thanks for reminding me, because I'm really bad at adulting.
It's not. It's a very disturbing process. It really, really is, because it just makes you think. It's like, oh my God, like. And it's so funny. He goes, do you want to declare which assets go to who when you die? I'm like, I don't have any assets. I have nothing. What am I going to give?
I'll give you my microphone. You can have my microphone.
Yeah. You can have my drum set and my old skins.
I mean, listen, if the drum set's not up for grabs, I'll take the drum set.
I have been very nostalgic lately. I was thinking about college and all the fun I used to have living in a dorm room, just the weird stuff we used to do.
Yeah.
I get in a really weird headspace when I start to do that kind of stuff. I really got to stop that. I really do.
Yeah. I got to tell you, if I wasn't waking up weekdays at 4:45 a.m. in the morning, I would still be going out probably like half the week. I'd be like Margarita Tuesdays, Tequila Wednesdays, Vodka Thursdays, because before I was waking up that early, let me tell you, I was going out half the week.
You were. I remember back in the day.
I used to have friends and a social life, and then I got a full-time job, and that all went out the window.
Remember when we used to hang out?
In person, yeah. I'd come to your place.
I vividly remember one of my favorite moments of my youth is when we were going to a sweater party for work, and you did a cartwheel down East 9th. You remember that?
Yes. A little guilty, I'll admit.
As we were in cat sweaters.
I still think I'm fun, flirty, and social, but I mean, between the pandemic, between being like an adult, between I work like 6 days a week. I mean, no joke. I'm out here trying to seize my cake and eat it too. It's hard, Back when I was 22 and I was a loser with jobs that were like wah, wah. Yeah, a little bit. It was different. I could go get margaritas every day, but
I do miss those times. I just remember, even after right after college, I would just I'm going to my dude's house tonight, and I'd be there till midnight or 1 a.m. just playing games stuff. Mm-hmm. Now I can't do. Now it's if I want to do literally anything, it's where's the baby gonna go?
Yeah.
And it's crazy, man. But going off the pandemic, this kind of relates to it directly. Have you seen Bo Burnham's new special?
No, everyone's been talking about it. It's on my list.
It is depressing. It is pretty tough because basically, if you don't know the synopsis, and you probably do, but I'll just explain it. I didn't know this, but apparently he hasn't performed for a number of years, and that was because he started to get really, really, really bad panic attacks while up on stage, and just was in a bad headspace. So he took some time off, a couple years, and in January of 2020, he came to this epiphany. He's like, you know what? I'm doing it. I'm in a good headspace. I'm going to go out there and perform again. January of 2020, he decides that, and then obviously everything caves in.
Yeah.
So he spent the year 2020 locked in a room, basically just recording songs and bits. Yeah. And so it progresses over the course of a year, and you can just basically see his mental state just slowly cave in on itself. And it's pretty dark. It's pretty dark. But
yeah, I will say, you know, I'm not trying to say let's do another pandemic. You know, I'm not that extreme. For what it was worth, I think my pandemic, my quarantine was good. I mean, did a lot of creative, did a lot of me time, you know, learned to appreciate certain things more, learned to be alone and love that by myself, you know, took huge journeys, started school, bought a house because, you know, I was saving up all this money. Because instead of spending, you know, $1,000 a month on entertainment and drinks, I was saving all this money and, you know, being able to do these things for my future. So for me, and I know a lot of people probably disagree, I had a fortunate time. I was lucky, you know, still had jobs, and yeah, I don't regret. I'm not the kind of person who's like, well, if 2020 didn't have a pandemic, like that's just not my lifestyle. But I can get why for some people that was really frustrating.
I think I was talking to somebody about this today because I really kind of got retrospective lately about the whole last year of 2020, because really in it, I was so concerned with other things that I didn't really realize what was going around me. Because a month after, well, I had my kid a month before the lockdown happened. So basically what happened was Katie and I had our first kid, and then immediately everything went into lockdown. We couldn't see anything. So we're trying to be first-time parents with an infant in quarantine and, you know, stay-at-home orders and stuff. And it was insane looking. I don't know how we got through it. And looking back at it, when I was in it, there was times when things got pretty tough and rough, but for the most part, I was pretty even keeled. But looking back, I can definitely see some of the mistakes I made personally and some of the weird things that I think we made as like a society. And the one thing that really bothers me now that I think about it, and it's kind of a result of something that we didn't. This wasn't the thing we were trying to make happen, but it's what did happen. An unexpected consequence is the essential and non-essential thing. I think looking back, that really kind of screwed with people's heads. And I even think it kind of messed with mine, to be honest, because I lost my job for a little bit too. And I was kind of grouped in with that non-essential field. And I think it really messed me up more than I really realized. And at the time it didn't, but looking back now, I'm like, I feel it a little bit now. It's like, man, we really did kind of split people up into like two, like essential and non-essential groups. And it's kind of crazy when you think about that, would that actually happen? But, and it was kind of an unintended consequence, but hey, I don't know. That's to my rant about it.
Yeah, I mean, and you got to look at some of the good things, too, that have, I think, happened because of this. I mean, cleaning procedures, I think, are up across the board.
I'm going to have hand sanitize my car forever now.
It was just crazy to think about companies that were like, listen, you know, we know there's a pandemic. We're going to, like, start using Clorox. We're going to start, like, wiping things down. Like, why weren't you doing that in the first place?
I was going to say something that's like, don't worry. With the pandemic, we're going to clean now. It's like, bitch, you weren't cleaning before? Like, what were you doing before?
Listen, we know there's dust bunnies in the corner that we never cared about, but now we're going to care. We're going to really care. So you got to think that things like that, like, okay, that was what we needed. And another thing that I think was good was it went to show you how important retail, restaurant workers, you know, truckers,
I feel bad for retail workers, man.
Oh, I feel bad. But here's what's interesting. I mean, you look at the data. Retail workers are leaving more than ever before, and it's forcing retailers.
Are leaving, you said?
Yeah, leaving in big numbers. It's forcing, you know, chain retail. They're stepping up their wage. Chipotle went up $2 for their minimum wage. I think that's now minimum 13 or 14. And it goes to show you too that this was a good time, hopefully, and moving forward for those industries that, you know, are so used to being paid abysmally and yet doing such hard work, such hard labor, dealing with the worst people. I mean, you go to any retailer, I don't care if you go to Walmart or Target, there are the worst people who are just demeaning customers, demeaning patrons, employees. I mean, these people deserve to be paid 20 minimum. I would even say 25 just to deal with the emotional and physical and mental work. It's crazy.
It is amazing how I was reading an article a couple weeks ago about how there's obviously the big push that, you know, people don't want to go back to work, which is not true mostly. people are just aren't going back to those jobs.
Yes.
I think the restaurant culture seriously going to have to rethink a lot of things. And it is weird that it took a pandemic to do it. I honestly don't think restaurants are going to be able to survive on the salaries they had pre-pandemic. I don't think they are. I think they're going to have to, and just industries in general, because people are just going to go to that, because now forget the salary aspect of it. It's proved then that it's not as, a protected job as they really thought, as a guaranteed thing. And so it's been interesting to see how Cedar Point, right around us, they were having staffing troubles for a long time. They bumped up their minimum salary to $20 an hour, and they got a flood of applications.
Yeah, absolutely.
And
good on them. Good on them, A, for doing that, because they can afford it, I'm sure. And then B, what it's going to do, it's going to force other businesses around them to adapt. Actually,
I'm sorry to interrupt. Because
go ahead.
There is a point to that. Ironically enough, the city of Sandusky said because they raised their wage and people are going to Cedar Point, it weirdly created a employee vacuum in Sandusky. And there's nobody to work the bars now around on the outside.
And guess what? You got to step up. And here's the truth. Okay, let's say I'm working in Sandusky for $8 an hour. Let's say I'm a bartender or a server in Sandusky. I'm getting paid $3 an hour and tips, all right?
Is that really what bartenders make? I honestly don't know.
Oh, I mean, I think the minimum wage for tip employees, it's like 2 something. And you barely see any of that money.
Fell into that.
You barely see. Yeah, I mean, let's say I'm working for the worst, like they're not even paying me $5, $6, $8. Like they're paying me $2-3 an hour, and then I get my tips. And let's say it's toxic. Let's say the boss sucks. Clearly he does if he's paying his servers and bartenders $2 an hour. Not great. Of course I would leave to go to Cedar Point for $20 an hour. Let's say though, I'm working at a bar or a restaurant. I'm being paid as a server bartender even $10 an hour plus tips. I wouldn't leave. Because arguably if it's a good place of business, you're maybe clearing $20 an hour on tips minimum. That's $30 an hour.
I mean, I could definitely see. I kind of get the point. Well, no, you know what? I just forget that point. It's going to be a wrong point. I changed my mind in that.
My point is, if I'm a server or a bartender and I'm getting paid a really decent wage, $6, $7, $8, and I'm averaging more than $20 an hour, I wouldn't leave. But it's telling me that in Sandusky, these places, they're being paid abysmally. And there's not a huge flow of tips, or people don't tip, whatever, or if it's takeout and no one tips on takeout, right? Heck yeah, go to Cedar Point. You know what's funny? I was at Kalahari recently, just the other week or whatever. The bartenders there, full time. They get 401k. They get vacation time. Yes. So you want to tell me, Paul, that one of those full-time 401k vacationer bartenders from Kalahari left for Cedar Point? Of course not. Of course not. Because they're making more than $20 an hour and they got the benefits. So it's people need to step up. And local businesses, listen, I am huge local business, go local businesses. This is why the government needs to help these local businesses, because if these local businesses are struggling to hire people, at a high cost, we need to have a program where we can subsidize what people deserve to be making with that local business, Well,
I am actually curious, and only time will tell on this one, if maybe it isn't a salary thing. Maybe people just genuinely don't want to work in food service anymore. Maybe
I think so.
I'm wondering if these, restaurants will raise their salaries, raise minimum wage, and if the employees still don't come back, that means it's an industry thing. It's no longer a salary thing. And I don't know if I could be just, pulling that out of nowhere, but maybe it is. I don't know.
Another thing, too, to think about is movie theaters.
You've worked, we kind of have two different backgrounds here, which is kind of nice. I did a lot of retail with Giant Eagle and grocery stores. You did it with the service industry. You're a bartender. You're a server.
Yeah, I worked like a winter at Barnes and Noble. Thought I'd love it because of books and stuff. It was a cult.
But you and I both realize that those are the two industries that are the most brutal.
Oh, they are
horrible. And so after this whole thing went down, I don't even know if a higher wage is going to be enticing enough to get people back to that. I think people just generally saw this, and maybe the people are obviously going to be working these jobs, but maybe a lot of people are saying, you know what, I'm going to figure something else out, get more training, and do something else.
Yeah,
and just not go back at all, no matter what the salary is.
I mean, there was an article. This it was, I think, New York Times or Bloomberg, and the one lady, she was working at Walmart or something, being paid $11 an hour, left to take a job. It was like $13 an hour at like a law firm. So it goes to show you that like it's not like she's making substantially more. You know, I mean, sure, that $2 an hour, it adds up. That's maybe $20 extra a day. Sure, you know, which I guess some might say in the grand scheme isn't much. Whatever you want to say. The point being, though, she's like, I feel so much better because she's doing her own work. She's not dealing with the customers. It's not even about the pay. It's really about the culture. You know,
this whole thing is going to be a culture shock to our just our general work attitude. I really think it is. More so than even the salaries. I think people are just, some industries will suffer because of it. Because people are just going to be fed up and not want to go back. And I think it's more than even service and, you know, retail. But the only thing I don't like is when there, and you see this more so with local businesses. Trust me, I'm all about it too. But you do see this happen more with that. Is that they almost blame people for not wanting to come work for them, which is a weird move. It just seems like a weird move to me. Instead of making your business seem enticing and getting people to work there, you're more like, well, you're almost like blaming people who don't work there for your problems. Nobody's entitled to work at your place.
Those signs that remember those signs, and for those who aren't sure, a lot of businesses have these signs where it's like, we're understaffed. Please thank the people that decided to work. No one wants to work anymore. And it's like, no one wants to work $9 an hour in your crappy industry. You know, I'm sorry. It's just not going to happen.
If I was saying, hey, I need a restaurant, any sort of job, I need a quick job, get some money in. I walk up to a restaurant and say, no one wants to work here, so thank you. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to walk past that and go to the next place. Why? Yeah. That is such a strange move. I don't understand.
It's so privileged to me. It really is.
Get it. If you're struggling, I just don't get it. I honestly, I don't understand.
I got to add one more thing too. This is some real talk. When places say we have competitive wages and salary, and then say at $10 an hour, that is not a competitive wage or salary. Also, stop it. Just stop. Like the amount of times I walked into like a Panera Bread, and I'm gonna put Panera Bread on blast. And I don't know what their minimum is. I'm sure it's 10, 9, or 11. If you want to place a bet, I'm going to place it right now. And they say competitive. It is not competitive. You want to talk competitive? 17, 18, 19 plus. That is competitive. That's what, and even then, like, that's stop using competitive wage, and it's $10. That is. I'm gonna flip this table. This table is
consider itself shooketh. But so that's why I like Target's one of the. I'll give them a pass because they actually have a $15 minimum.
Yeah.
And also they randomly gave their employees like $500 in a paycheck recently. Yeah. But the other thing, and can we? That's your pet peeve, and I understand. I agree with you. Here's mine that we absolutely need to stop immediately. Can we stop doing this? You apply for a job. Say you're putting in for a web design job, okay? Matt, you're putting in for this job. You're going to be a web designer. You're going to be a web developer. You're going to be front end. You're going to be back end. You're going to be the typographist. You're going to be the designer. You're going to be the salesman. You're going to be this. And it's $20,000 a year. They take 6 jobs, put it into one, and then make a salary of $20,000. Can we please stop doing that? Please. For the love of God, just hire multiple people because we can't handle that.
What's even worse, and I've seen this in the blood and flesh, is when companies cut a position and then guess what? It's part of other people's jobs.
It just absorbs by everyone.
And then there's no pay raise. There's no pay raise. You just get the work and there's no pay raise.
Yeah.
Paul, this table, Paul, this table.
Oh, man. CEOs, my friend.
We could talk. I mean, you and me, I think we are so fascinated with society, culture, politics, just
this is slowly
systems.
A political show. You notice that? It really is.
It's Politithoughts of the Roundtable.
Can we change the title to Politithoughts?
Politithoughts. I mean, but here's the truth, Paul. I mean, we question the system. You know, I hate when people say, "Oh, I don't engage in politics. Politics doesn't affect me." At least you and I,
we can. Though.
It does. I mean, don't get me started. Like, the table can only be shaken so much, Paul.
Stop.
I'm gonna break this table. But we are engaged. We vote. We have opinions. We speak out when we see things that we disagree with. Problems in our society. And that to me is good. That is healthy. We want people to say, "Wait a minute, this isn't right." Because if everyone can say that, then hopefully we can start really changing things. So
I'm sorry to interrupt. I don't like the old guard of everything's okay. We're doing, because I know people who do this. I'm not going to name names, but I really wanted to, but I'm not going to. I swear to God, I had this conversation with someone, and they told me, they said, the United States is the best country in the world, and we're on the up and up. Don't say anything yet. It gets better. So they said America's the best country in the world. It's on the up and up. And so I said, didn't you just last week tell me this is turning into a socialist hellscape? And they're like, yes, it really is. I'm like, but which one is it? Are we going up or are we going down? I don't. And they're like, we're this is the best country in the world, and we're working every day to make it better. I was like, but we're also turning into a socialist hellscape. They're like, yes. I'm like, do you not understand the problem here? Are we going up or are we going down? I don't understand.
Here's the thing. Another thing. This has just become a rant episode, and I love it. And we didn't even intend for this to happen. We literally had a whole different episode planned.
We can still do that one thing at the end.
We can do it on the next one. We're on the train. We are literally on a train that is derailing into flames. I think people do not understand what socialism is versus communism. They lump it. They think it's the same thing. It is not. Another thing, too. True communism has never been actually done. What happened in the Soviet Union was not communism. That was a tyranny under the disguise of communism. What's happening in China right now also isn't communism. I'm not saying that in the defense of communism. I'm just saying people don't think or read or understand.
The thing that I want to really make clear, I'm a liberal, okay? Mm-hmm. I don't want socialism. I don't want communism. Believe it or not, that's a thing. I don't want either. But I can still be liberal without wanting those. Here's the thing that I don't understand, and it is, I don't understand why it is such a radical idea to say, you know what, I like it here. I do like this country. I love living here. But we could definitely be a million times better. Why don't we work towards that? Why do we got to have this thing of, well, if you don't like it, then just go? I like being here. Yeah. I do. But I want to work better at it and to make it an even better place.
See, but that's why, to me, a socialist democracy, where you're combining, these old tenets of...
I will admittedly say that I don't know enough about the economics to say anything out of this. So I'm just going to...
Well, here's my, I guess, utopia, is this combination of what we have now, but also with, some socialist, I guess, concepts. We want a country where people are free to do things, right? We want, if you want to go out and make a business, you can do that. But at the same time, we have to hold people like Jeff Bezos, Bill Gates, Elon Musk. We have to hold these people accountable. We have to tax them, right? You saw the article where these billionaires are getting away with basically not paying taxes.
I don't think Amazon has paid income tax in 2 years.
Yeah, ridiculous. 2, we need safety nets. You look at this country, there's no safety nets.
People. We don't need safety nets for the CEOs. We don't.
Oh, 100%.
But that's where it always goes to.
Yeah.
When we do safety nets, that's where it goes.
Yeah. I think a lot of things, too, my big thing, it comes back to education. People are just not educated, and part of it has to do with, the government doesn't fund areas. Here's what I hate. Can I talk about another thing I hate?
Hold on,
funding.
Okay,
go.
One second, because you're going to go off in a rant, but I got to plug this in before you go off in a rant. I promise.
Plug it in.
So the governor of Florida, DeSantis, is trying to pass a law. He might have passed. I don't know if it did or he's trying to, but it will require colleges to survey their students, and students have to state what their political affiliations and ideas are. And if a college doesn't have enough, quote, diversity, meaning they don't have enough conservative people, they will lose their state funding. And so someone had put on there, it's like, this is a really weird and interesting way to prove that conservatives aren't educated. And I lost it. I laughed so hard at that.
Yeah.
Because that's basically what
I'm really just frustrated by the whole situation. I can't even find any comedy in it. I'm just pissed. But here's the thing. Funding is on how good the students are. So if students don't test well, they don't get funding. which means if they don't get funding, they can't learn to test well. Makes no sense.
Are you talking obviously collegiate, or is this
oh no, for across the board. Okay. And then of course too, I mean you have rich cities, they have more money to give to education. I mean it's all it's systematic.
Ignore the fact that a lot of schooling, especially universities, act the same way in businesses, that they're very top-heavy funding-wise. Mm-hmm. The presidents, the board, sometimes even the faculty, and they make insane amounts of money. And then, I mean, it's top-heavy just like any other business, which is a bad thing. It is never a good thing to be like that. I mean, with public universities, they obviously have to disclose their salaries. Oh my God, the Akron president makes millions. Meanwhile, they shut down the baseball team because they don't have enough money. It's like, but is that really the problem?
That's ridiculous. That is.
He famously, I don't know if you never went to Akron, so you probably didn't hear about this, but it was a huge thing several years ago when the president of Akron, and they had troubles with their presidents for a while there, but he laid off a ton of staff, and then he cut the baseball program. He did all this, says Akron's really hurting or whatever. And then the next week, or maybe even days after he did that, with university money, he bought a $20,000 olive jar for his house. $20,000 olive jar. And people lost their shit.
Oh, I'm losing it right now.
It had its own spotlight on it in his house, which, by the way, was bought by the university. And
Paul, this table is not going to make it. This table is not going to make it.
The home that the president lived in for the University of Akron was outfitted with a 1-inch thick white carpet. This mansion that he lived in was insane. It was insane.
First of all, okay, I get being rich and having your olive jars that cost $20,000. White carpet? Are you telling me you don't have marinara sauce or red wine? Are you telling me you have no pets or kids? White carpet? You must be that rich that if one spills, you're gonna have to get that redone. White carpet, you are not coming back.
Immediately break their ankles.
If you have an Italian family come over for Italian meats and sauce night, your carpet's fricked. I can. Like, Paul, I really don't even buy white or light clothes because... Matt? No, I'm not okay.
You're so shook tonight. Are you okay?
Because the more we talk about it, the more I'm like, why aren't people aware? Why aren't people angry? Why does it feel like I'm just shouting in an echo chamber?
Because that's what it is. And truthfully, if it were up to me, 100%, I'd get rid of everybody in Congress and let's just start over. Let's just start over. Everyone. Democrat, conservative, they're all going, and we're starting over. Australia did do that, by the way. That did happen. Oh. Australia, I think it was in the 90s. I could be mistaken, but it was in the 90s, I believe. And what happened was their Congress couldn't agree on a budget, kind of like what would happen here, and then you fall off the cliff, and then there's, the government shuts down or whatever. I think that happened exactly one time in Australia, and they got rid of the entire Congress and started over. They voted all new people in. So it can't happen, people. Let's do it. I'm just sick of screaming into the void with boomers. So, but I don't even want to go there. Don't even get me started. We've already half-houred into this. My blood pressure is out of control. Why don't we continue? Let's continue this next time. I have some more thoughts.
We had some original stuff lined up that got so derailed. I mean, we are just out of control.
I don't care. You know what? Son of a bitch, we're taking down the government one brick by brick.
Yeah. Well, next time, find out what my new table looks like. Because this table is not going to survive much longer. Well, Paul, it's great as always talking to you. I always have a good time. And
yes, as
just
always.
some spicy Italian meats and sauces. That is...
We'll have a meat and sauce night and take a Benadryl.
Just going to go in my kitchen, cut up some salami. Man. Okay, I'm gonna go take.
Cut. You have uncut salami in your house?
No, I don't. I'm just messing.
You just said cut up salami.
You can cut up salami.
I can't wait to come into your house and just in the kitchen see meats curing from the ceiling.
Oh my God! Real quick, one other happy note. So you know the saying, "The cat that got the cream."
No, I've never heard that one.
Okay, so there's a saying called "The cat that got the cream," and it's basically, okay, Paul, was right. And Matt was wrong, and Paul looked like the cat that got the cream. The idea being and a cat who got the cream, right?
Yeah.
So I fucked it up the other day.
Times, but...
I fucked it up, and I said the canaries that got the cream.
How the hell did you get to canaries?
Because the C. I think it was like C, cat, cream, canary. But yeah, sleep, canaries got the cream. That's a new one.
That's a better one. I like that one better.
Sounds like a band, like a 50s doo-wop band, like doo-wop wop. Canaries got the cream.
Sounds like it'd be a TikTok trend or something.
I'll make the song and be like, canaries got the cream, coming for you and me.
It sounds like a coffee jingle.
Do wop wop da da do bop bop.
We're done. Enough of this.
We're done. Okay. So this table's gonna go. We're gonna have some salami next time. Anyway, peace out.
Later.